Well, hello everybody. It's Carolyn O'Neill, your AKA Stoked Coach. I wanted to share this real quick. How to use visualization to identify your feelings and get out of anxiety and overwhelm and just with feelings. So there's kind of a two-step process, and I literally just kind of came about this over the last week. Some of you may or may not know this, but this last 90 days for me in my personal life has been a little heavy. So this is a lovely orchid to give me some love. Anyway, so I was basically like, my mom passed away and then my dog died. And so the last several weeks have been really, really intense. And if you're like me, for the longest time, I used to not show outward emotion because I thought that vulnerability was weakness. I wasn't really good at processing my feelings. And over the last several years, that's something that I've been trying to work on, and I work on that with my clients as well. So long story short, this is a visualization that I came up with kind of out of the blue to help me process all these overwhelming feelings within my body. And as I was having a client conversation this morning, I was like, I should share this. So this is what it is. No matter what's going on in your life, if you feel like you're super overwhelmed with feelings and you don't know quite how to process those, watch this video because this is what I did. So I sat down on a comfortable space. I'm not a very good meditator. I try to do it as often as possible. And I got to the point where I was so overwhelmed with all these feelings, I didn't know how to place them, process them, put them in a place where I could just kind of leave them, and then so I can continue on my day. And I found a comfortable place to sit, and I just closed my eyes. And I visualized like a big empty room with doors all the way around, like a circular room. And each door had kind of a feeling on it. So there was fear, there was anger, there was grief, there was sadness, there was joy. And right now, it was at that time, I felt like I had all these emotions swiveling around in my brain, my body, and I did not know where to place them. So just visualizing a big room with doors where you could identify that feeling, it helped me because as I was visualizing that and feelings were coming up, I knew kind of where to put them in this big open room because they had a door with the name on it. So I was like, all right, fear. So I put fear in that door and I kind of closed it, and then I could identify grief, and grief went into the grief door and I could identify it. And joy even came up and I could put that in its proper place. So the cool thing, the second step within this phase is once you can identify the feelings that they're swirling around, and then you can put them in their closet, so to speak. What I then did was like, all right, I'm curious what the fear is about. So I'd visually see myself walking to the fear door, opening the door, and then trying to identify specifically those fears. Meaning, what was fear is a very broad brush, right? So you can be fearful over a lot of things. And what I did is I figured out what was fact and what was fiction within that door. So in fear, a lot of the feelings I was feeling I thought it was fear-based, was actually grief. So I was able to I then further identify those feelings, put them in the appropriate closet under grief and not fear, and be kind of crippled by just the thought of me being in so much fear is also crippling. So when I was able to identify that the majority of those feelings were actually feelings of grief, and I was able to transpose those over to the correct kind of feelings door, if you will. So then from there, I kind of went through each door, not all at once. I kind of went back, and when I was ready to dive into some of those feelings and really acknowledge them and process them, it was extraordinarily helpful. And to be honest with you, it's probably like the first day where I haven't gotten up and cried for like at least a minute. And so whatever I did feels like it's working for me. It's incredibly important when we are going through hard times, especially in this climate with the election coming up, with family and friends and whatever have you. We don't give ourselves enough time to sit down and actually identify what is going on with us. And we will carry out our day being in so much like anxiety and fear and just shit, but we don't take that time for us to really evaluate, process, and place those feelings appropriately. So this was super helpful for me. Hopefully this will be helpful for you. Just to give you a quick recap, sit somewhere where you're comfortable and quiet. However long it takes. It took me maybe like 5 minutes, but visualize a room with a bunch of doors, identify those doors to feelings that you're experiencing. And as those feelings are coming up, visualize yourself placing them in that closet behind that door. And then when you're ready to go through each door and figure out if the feeling that you're having and what you're thinking about that feeling is either fiction or fact, that is where that like second phase is. And then you can identify if this is just a nonsensical fear or is it a fact? Is it, and kind of dissect it from there. It's a 2-part intellectual and a heart-based exercise. So anyway, it helped me out tremendously. So hopefully this will help you out. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. Also, I would love to hear your comments after you apply this. So as always, crush your days, come dream with us, and make it a gorgeous day. Mwah.